Yeah, it's been a hot minute since y'all have seen my dumbass post on this platform, so hi, not dead. Happy New Year. How have y'all been? I hope you have been doing fantastic. I hope that the back half of your 2022 ended up good, and even if it didn't, I promise it's gonna get better. And I hope that the start to your 2023 has been productive, healthy, and sexually fulfilling. Just make sure you're drinking water, shitting regularly, and getting to bed at a decent hour. So you would be surprised what my gremlin rat ass has been cooking up in the shed of the review family laboratory. It has pretty much been a lot of content mapping and just a lot of ideas that I definitely want to either put to paper or put in video form, or in many cases, both. Obviously, you are going to still get reviews and lists and essays and things of that nature, but I also have some really cool videos coming up that are going to be longer, a little bit experimental, and honestly, I'm just really excited for it because going into this year, after last year, after I made those last few videos that basically talked about my position on the channel and how I had been feeling about it, I wanted to come in with a fresh slate and I wanted to have a bright mindset for what I wanted to make this channel in the future and what I wanted this year to mean to me, for this channel, and for the people who are gracious enough and awesome enough to watch and support this channel. Thank you very much. Every time you like, comment, subscribe, and just show that engagement, it not only makes me very happy, but it makes YouTube very happy, so keep that up if you enjoy the content. And also a side note, if you ever have something that you want to see made on this channel, either like an album you want to suggest, or just in general a topic you want to see covered, let me know that too. But before we get into anything else this year, I wanted to start the year off with a topic that I actually made a video on back in like October or November. It was sometime around there, and I wasn't a big fan of how it ended up coming out, so I just scrapped it. But it was an idea that I wanted to share with you guys because it's something that I have noticed becoming increasingly prevalent in the online space. And you know, slimy little insecure metalheads with like their fragile perception of what metal is love to vent and rant and complain about this topic, so I thought I'd take a crack at it and talk a little bit about the methodology behind guilty pleasures. So the way that I view guilty pleasures is it's so different than the way that it used to be intended to be used. It usually was someone stepping out of their comfort zone and enjoying something that is not typically something that they would enjoy, something that they would partake in. Maybe it's a media, maybe it's an artist, a book, a certain TV series, or a genre of video games. Just anything that goes against the grain of what that particular person calls their interests, calls their hobbies, whatever their inner circle of influence is when it comes to the media that they consume. Now, a lot of times people that are very much against popular music will have one of those artists that they consider their guilty pleasure. But metalheads are one of the most just red-handed culprits of taking the term guilty pleasure and just making it so far removed that it makes me just want to scream and bash my head into like a wall like a million times. Go on any forum, go on any YouTube comment section, go on anything that is typically more popular or mainstream, and you're going to start seeing people talk about how it's a guilty pleasure. The insecurity about saying that it's a guilty pleasure is pretty much just giving you everything you need to know about that individual. It obviously depends and it varies person by person because some people just mean it innocently and it's just something that they wouldn't necessarily usually enjoy. But I think the term in and of itself is just a stupid term that should not be used and should just be removed from language because I just think it's actually asinine. Because what it implies is you have to like define something that you enjoy, something that you get some sort of value from, either personal enjoyment or emotional enjoyment, something lyrically, something vocally, something stylistically, or the imagery, and you have to put that in a little box and say that it fits into this category of being a guilty pleasure because it's outside of your comfort zone. But the reason that metalheads have sort of crossed that hill of making it something else entirely is because they started to make it a defensive mechanism to try to cope with the fact that they're liking something that might mess with their credibility and might make them, oh my god, Watch me if I gasp. A poser. A fake metalhead. The dreaded fake metalhead. Take a fucking shot every time you see a metalcore video with some sweaty-ass grindcore or death metal fan talking about how it's a guilty pleasure, but they don't particularly like that music usually. Like, am I crazy for just noticing this trend of metalheads using the term guilty pleasure to describe anything remotely popular because they're so scared that it's going to take away from their macho attitude towards whatever highbrow genre they like? You'll also see this happen a lot, not only in the extreme metal veneer, but you will also see it happen a ton in like the progressive rock and progressive metal and math rock and mathcore genres. Anything that has some sort of intelligence to it, or something that is just ingrained in its philosophy of how they write music, how they produce music, how they perform music. And when you have something that is perhaps more entry level, or something that is more simplistic, which simplistic in the grand scheme of things musically is relative, because some of the most simplistic metal songs ever are some of the most popular, the most acclaimed, that people enjoy the most. And popularity doesn't dictate if something is good or not. It's just very popular to hate things that are popular because you want to go against the grain, and you think that if a lot of people like something, well, it must just be a hive mentality. And everyone likes to have that one artist or band that they listen to that no one else knows about because they think that it makes them look smarter. But with like the guilty pleasure thing, it sort of got taken away from what its initial meaning was. It initially was just something where if you liked something that wasn't your typical forte, that would be an apt way to use the term. But throughout the years, and specifically in more niche and underground genres, this doesn't just go for metal, it can go for electronic, it can go especially for hip-hop. I've seen it happen. You'll see popular artists get shit on, but then you'll also have this subsection of people that like the music but are too scared to be a part of like a lot of people that like a specific artist because they think that it's going to hurt their credibility in the underground. And specifically with metalheads that have, generally speaking, a very traditional and elitist take when it comes to their genres and can be very gatekeepy and defensive towards that credibility, it sort of removes them from that if they like something that's popular. If you get someone that is a fan of really underground death metal or really underground black metal, and they maybe connected or enjoyed a song by like Asking Alexandria or Bullet for My Valentine or Architects, everything gets invalidated by the people in their circle depending on how elitist they are, solely because they're liking something that is popular. And so if you slap the term guilty pleasure on it, suddenly that's your alibi. You just abstain from any like blame that anyone can put on you, when in reality the simple solution is to just enjoy whatever the fuck you like. It doesn't matter what genre it comes from, it doesn't matter what artist, and it doesn't matter if it has 10 views or 10 million views. If you connect with something, if you enjoy something, if there's something that you gained from it, either musically or personally, you don't have to explain that to anyone. If you enjoy it, you don't have to make any claims of why you enjoy something. And you should be allowed to say that you enjoy something and explain why without having to just defend yourself by saying that it's a guilty pleasure, it's not in your wheelhouse, because that's immediately sending a signal to people that like, I'm just writing off this entire genre because I don't particularly like it, and just having that insecurity and defensive nature that I'm just not a fan of. For me personally, I don't give a shit what people think about me in terms of the music that I listen to. When I share my playlist and when I share the music that I listen to with people on Discord or Twitter or people that I am like around, people that know me, you would know that my playlists, surprisingly, I guess, aren't just metal. And in fact, some of my most listened to songs last year were not metal. They were genres like hip-hop and ambient and folk and even some pop and rock. It isn't just one clear-cut thing. So maybe I'm a little bit of a cynical person and a pessimistic person to talk about this, because I take a very just sort of I like what I like mentality, and sometimes that doesn't fit in with the general meta of metal, but That's just my opinion of it and why I don't like the term guilty pleasure. But what are your thoughts of this topic? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your opinions on the term guilty pleasure, and if you agreed or disagreed with my points. Either way, I would love to discuss it with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.